Foreman Buddy looked across the ever-expanding trench network with stoic acceptance, though he made no secret of wishing to return to the good old days, when all they had to worry about was making toys for the children. There was clearly no going back. Trenches, bunkers, and all manner of other defenses stretched as far as the eye could see. He could see it in the eyes of his fellow elves. They were terrified. And who could blame them? But Buddy could not afford to let his own fears show. An effort which became easier once he spotted a human overseeing the final construction of a machine gun pit. The white winter fatigues of his close friend providing a comforting sight.
I'm relieved to see that the storm hasn't caused much damage. How goes the construction?
Riku Korhonen gave a brief sigh before responding. While I agree the lack of damage is quite a blessing, and the storm was blissfully short, it still put us behind schedule. Something that frankly has me on edge.
I know what you mean. This rift storm has been the biggest one yet. Have any of the scouts returned?
They have, and the news they bring is concerning. This new voice belonged to one bearing a more noble disposition. Clad in armor of the Crusades, and bearing the heraldry of St. Lazarus, Knight Commander Johannes had continued to speak. It is as you suspected. The rifts have brought forth an invasion. Multiple armies spill forth.
Do you know the numbers they possess?
We could not get a bead on their full strength, but among them is a full-strength Roman legion, 8,000 of them at least.
So many.
Buddy couldn't help but ask himself, why? Why was all this happening? Why was he chosen to lead? His questions were brought to a halt when a hand was placed on his shoulder. Concern etched into Riku's face as he spoke once more.
I'll be fine. But I wish these troubles had never come.
So do all who live to see such times, my friend. But that is not for us to decide. What we can decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. Those are wise words, Sir Riku. Did you think of them yourself? No, I heard them from some English author. Tolkien, I believe. Well, maybe one day we'll all have the privilege of reading his work. But today shall not be that day. As if prompted by that statement, war horns began to blare in the distance, heralding the coming attack. Does anyone have knowledge on where the first attack will strike? Some elves operating a crude radio station answered.
Scouts say they're heading west. Last I was aware, the Novian expedition was manning those positions.
The Knight Commander quickly turned back to the others. I shall take my knights there immediately. Good luck, everyone. May God be with us all. Publius Quincitilius Varus could not help but smile. The treacherous Arminius failed at his task. He and his legions were still alive. they were not destroyed as the barbarians had hoped to achieve. And now, they would conquer in the name of Rome once more. Granted, the world he now found himself in was a lot colder than he expected, but it does not matter. He will obtain glory all the same. He soon found himself brought out of his musings by the arrival of one of his subordinates.
Ah, Centurion! What news do the speculatores bring? How do the barbarians respond to our challenge?
The enemy lie beyond the forest, sir. They cower within a series of sunken earthworks and a smattering of small forts of stone across the line. I would consider them formidable, were it not for the large gaps between them for the Legion to exploit.
Those fools clearly do not know how to wage war. No matter, we shall make them pay for such a mistake. Alert the Legion! We attack immediately!
With a salute from the Centurion, Varus turned his horse around and rode back to the Legion. And when he returned, he bore witness to a glorious sight. Legionnaires arrayed in perfect maniple formation. Siege weaponry ready for battle. Banners held high. An army ready for conquest. With a smile on his face, Varus rode forward to address the troops.
Legionnaires, heed my words! The stain of Teutoburg haunts your minds, a tragedy that nearly saw us slaughtered. But the gods have seen fit to grant us another chance! A chance to wipe the slate clean! A chance to fight! A chance to conquer! Do not falter in the face of barbarian trickery. Hold your formations, stick to your training, to your duty, and we shall know victory this day! Legions of Rome, to glory!
With the final command, war horns were blown, swords were drawn, and the Legion began to advance. The cold, snowy air beat against the Romans' faces as they eventually left the safety of the forest, bearing witness to the enemy that lay ahead. A ridiculous assortment of colorful short people and larger, more blocky barbarians. The Romans thought little of this motley assortment as they continued to advance. A mistake they would come to regret as the slaughter began. Major Norrant of the Nobian Stratocracy cursed to himself as he took cover, a ballista shot sailing just over his head as it impacted the ground behind him. He quickly got back up and fired his rifle into a nearby Roman cohort, supported by two Nobian riflemen. Dozens of legionnaires fell under the onslaught, but their shields seemed to be made of sterner stuff than expected. Similar scenes were playing out all across the front. Nobian and Elf sent torrents of bullets downrange, killing Romans by the hundreds each second. But it was not enough to stop their advance. For while the slaughter was brutal, the enemy was getting closer and closer by the minute, and there was a distinct lack of heavy ordnance. A shortcoming Major Norrant sought to rectify.
Private, where is the block's damned mortar support?
The private in question, carrying a portable radio set, answered with urgency.
The mortar teams are still stuck in the ass caves. Apparently there was some sort of avalanche. The equipment's buried under multiple feet of snow.
Get some boys over there to help dig them out then. Without heavy ordnance, we won't be able to hold out for much longer.
From here, the fighting continued to drag on. Elves and Novians alike were cut down under the hail of siege weapon fire. Bullets in retaliation sailed across the battlefield and into the advancing manifolds. Major Norrant fired once, twice, 3 times, each time scoring a kill. But it did not seem to be enough.
Keep it up, people! Don't let those eagle lovers get close! I need machine guns covering those deflates!
Look out!
This warning heralded a massive volley of people. The rain of javelins crashing into the Allied lines, slaying Novian and Elf alike, and sowing chaos in their ranks, as the Romans took the opportunity to charge into the trenches, where the close quarters fighting would swing in their favor. Several squads of elves quickly broke under the assault, while dozens of other elves and their Novian allies engaged the Romans in a brutal hand-to-hand slaughter. Norrant himself attaching a sharpened bayonet to his rifle before charging in.
All right.
With experience befitting his rank, Norrant's blade struck true, killing the first Roman instantly, before making further attacks against his comrades. Another dead Roman, another, and another. Each Roman that sought to do battle against him met his end at Norrant's blade. That is, until another resourceful legionnaire managed to flank him with his shield, forcing him to tumble to the ground and leave himself vulnerable. Ryder, what news from the west? The sounds of battle echoed not far from here, as a knight of St. Lazarus delivered his report.
The enemy is overrunning the first lines. The Novians are holding their own, but the militia is in disarray.
Damn it! Time is against us. We must hurry.
The force shall split into 3 columns. The first shall strike out against the enemy's siege works. Lord Dulles shall command it. Captain Pietras, take the second column and flank the main host. I shall take the third and reinforce our allies in the earthworks. 4th warriors of God, the enemy shall be vast, but we shall not falter this day.
The battlefield was a scene of chaos. Dead on both sides were strewn all across. The cries of battle and the screams of the dying permeated the air, and the snowy ground was turning red with blood.
Crossbows ready! Loose!
But the scene of carnage did not stop the knight's advance, as a volley of silver crossbolts sailed forth into the Roman ranks, piercing through Roman shields as if they weren't even there, killing the legionnaires that lay behind them and shattering the formations of several cohorts. All the while, a battle line of spearmen charged forward and clashed with the Romans. Another volley of pilum had been sent flying into the ranks of the order, but it seemed to be fruitless, for as many pilum struck true, piercing shoulders, thighs, legs, arms, but due to an unnatural resistance granted to them by the disease which afflicts them. None of these strikes proved fatal. But the Romans did not possess such an advantage, as hundreds fell to the spears and blades of the knights. Further north, a mounted contingent rushed the Roman bastillas, slaughtering the crews in a one-sided massacre. And the knight commander himself, seeing the Nelbian commander about to be overrun, charged into the fray. His longsword making short work of the legionnaires. With the immediate threat dealt with, he turned to aid his downed ally.
I appreciate the assist. You and your knights came just in time.
We have merely been doing our duty, Sir Norrant. Now I believe it is imperative that we deal with these Romans as soon as possible. Moments later, the iconic whistling of mortar shells could be heard, as the explosive ordnance landed among the Roman ranks, tossing body parts and dirt into the air. A scene which drew a smile from Major Norrant.
Well, now that the mortars are finally in action, clearing them out should be real simple.
Publius Quincitilius Varus was furious at this new development. He could not have expected this new counterattack. How could the speculatores have missed the presence of these armored barbarians? Now the defenders seemed to have brought new weapons to the field, and the attack had been halted completely. No progress was being made whatsoever. This was unacceptable.
Why aren't we advancing?
This demand was directed to a group of legionnaires that had the audacity to run.
It's too much! The gods have forsaken us! We have to flee!
Get back in line and continue the assault. I will not tolerate cowardice in my...
Before Publius could finish his rant, a nearby explosion knocked him off his horse, sending him to the ground in a painful heap. Though he was able to recover quickly and stand back up. But the sight he witnessed made him fall to his knees once more. His worst fears were unfolding before his very eyes. All semblance of cohesion had fled, much like the legionnaires that now fled in terror, only to be cut down for their attempts. Everything he worked to build was being destroyed before his very eyes.
How can this be happening? This can't be happening. We can't be defeated. I can't be defeated. No! No! How can the gods allow this? This was supposed to be a great victory. This was supposed to be my chance at glory. But now, an entire legion shall lie dead. I shall forever be disgraced. Damn you! Damn you, barbarians! Give me back my legion!